What's up, everyone? How you doing? Colin Egglesfield here, up for another episode of Coffee with Colin. It is Monday evening, and you all know what that means. It is time for another stimulating, amazing, inspiring conversation. And tonight, ladies and gents, I have a pal of mine from Hollywood. He is a very handsome dude. You know, over the past few weeks, we've been having some pretty awesome dudes on here. Maybe we should change the show to Coffee with some Studs, because over the past few weeks, we've been having some really amazing, awesome dudes on here, and we're going to continue that momentum with my next guest. He is someone who's been kicking around in Hollywood for quite a bit, and he's created a nice little niche for himself in the shows that he's done, specifically with some of the shows that he has worked on that have to do with being in the military. So all of you out there who are in the military, I think you'll find this to be enlightening and stimulating and hopefully inspiring, because everyone out there in the military, I just want to say thank you for all of your service and what you do to provide safety and security for us here in the United States. I think a lot of the times we take for granted how dangerous and what the effects really are on soldiers around the world. And my guest tonight actually plays a soldier who was in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he becomes friends with an Afghani interpreter, and the interpreter comes over to the United States. The name of the show is called The United States of Al, and I can't wait to be talking to him about that show as well as his career path. And I've known him now for a few years. We do some triathlons together. He's got a huge heart. He's been supporting St. Jude charity, St. Jude Hospital for quite a bit. He and our buddy Jeff Stoltz, who I'm going to be having on the show here eventually. He's on an airplane right now, but for tonight we've got Mr. Well, I don't want to reveal his name just yet, but we've got someone who you're definitely going to want to be getting to know, because this guy is definitely got a huge career ahead of him, and I hope you guys will check out his show, The United States of Al. He's also been on Suburgatory, and you guys may know him from the hit show Imposters, and then also on the show Enlisted that was on Fox for a little bit, where he played one of three brothers, and our buddy Jeff Stoltz was one of his brothers. So without further ado, ladies and gents, please bring to the stage Mr. Parker Young.
What's going on?
Parker?
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
What's up, brother? Thanks for being here.
Dude, it's my pleasure. I'm really excited to be here. That was an awesome introduction, so thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking the time. I believe you're in the middle of shooting right now, or are you guys done for season?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of shooting season 2.
Okay.
I'm like kind of frazzled. I just got done with work today. I rushed home, and I had like 40 minutes before you and I were supposed to hop on and have this chat. And I was like clicking stuff on the computer, getting the desktop ready. My laptop's broken, and so I was like, okay, I'll use the desktop. And there was a button like download new software. I didn't really pay attention. I clicked okay, and it's like powers down, and it's like 30 minutes until
exactly. Like, right? Doesn't it always happen right at the best times possible?
Man, so I'm like sweating. We got this thing going. I apologize for being a little bit late.
All good, man. We've got plenty of people here who are really looking forward to our conversation and hearing from you about your experiences in Hollywood, about pursuing your dream of becoming a professional actor. And please, anyone out there, if you have a question for Parker, would love for you guys to type it in the chat. We've got a couple that have come in already, but before we get to those, Parker, you know, you're in Hollywood right now, right?
That's right. Yeah.
You actually were on set today filming your show, United States of Al, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you're on a hit TV show. Don't you have like a butler and a chauffeur and assistant to like get your computer and be like, here, Mr. Young, here's your coffee. And here's like, what's the deal here, dude? Like, what's going on?
No, man, I'm the poor man's version of your hit star. I'm a one-man show here. No, thank goodness for my wife, or I'd be a complete mess. She got me like set up. All I had to do was basically like hit cancel on that little prompt, but I hit the wrong button. So yeah, man, it's I need some help. I definitely need some help. I need a Miriam like you have.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do. But just for for everyone out there, I think because people may see us on TV or in a movie, it becomes actors in a sense. Sometimes we get put up on this pedestal, and what I just try to tell people is like, I'm just like a normal person, normal dude, just like anyone else. So if you could just tell us a little bit about where you come from and how you ended up in this crazy world of Hollywood, just to start.
Yeah, I was born in Arizona. I lived there till I was 18, through high school. Moved out to LA right after high school. I think I was just naive enough to think that I could make this Hollywood thing work. Did a couple of plays in I think my junior year of high school. I started and was like, this is fun. And I knew I wasn't going to continue playing football much longer. So yeah, I moved out to Hollywood and just started pounding the pavement, got into every acting class I could, was doing a lot of background work, extra work, and self-submitting for every audition, possible, all the commercials and student films. And little by little, dots started to connect, and I maybe got really lucky at times and tried to do my best to capitalize on those opportunities.
How soon did you get an agent when you first got out there?
I think I got a manager first. I don't think it took too long because I don't think he was probably a very good manager. But he helped me get my first agent. I mean, probably within the first year is my guess. And then the manager ended up not working out, but the agent helped me get a new manager. And then that agent didn't end up working out. So that agent helped me get a new manager and a manager. And I just kind of bounced around until I have the team that I'm with currently.
And if you could just real quick, share the difference between an agent and a manager for anyone out there who doesn't know the difference.
Yeah. I try to answer that question. So the agent, for the most part, at least in my experience, the agent sends you the auditions. The agent gets the breakdown from casting of all of the shows and movies that are in pre-production that are looking to cast actors. And so the agent says, they need a Zach, that's somewhere between 20 and 30. And they think, Parker might be good for this. They send me the audition and I prepare it. I walk into a room, I bomb the audition and don't get it. Basically the role of my agent. My manager is a little bit more hands-on, I'd say. For me, it's been, when I had no career, he was sort of the guy that would hold my hand and help develop me.
Yeah, he's the guy you call after you suck at the audition and you cry to your manager, like, I suck. This is never going to work.
He's the shoulder that I pay 2% to cry on.
Yeah. Agent helps you get the job. Manager is therapist, travel agent, concierge. They're like
supposed to make sure my computer works.
Yeah. Exactly. So you kind of bounce around between agent and manager. Did you, when you first got out to Hollywood, because a lot of people who listen to the show are thinking about getting into the industry, or they are thinking about making a career move. How did you, I guess when you said you were naive enough, I kind of feel like I was in a similar boat because I didn't really know anyone who was a professional actor. I didn't really know what it was all about. So I just kind of went out there just to just see what it was all about, just to even explore. And then it was one of these things where I just kept meeting more people, like you jumped into acting classes. And then I just started, the more I started meeting and networking with people, I started meeting the right people that started to see if I had the talent. And then it just kind of kept building from there. But I think a lot of people don't even take that first step because they're worried that it's not going to work out. So what was your thought process when you were like, I'm just going to go out there. If it doesn't work out, I'll just come back to Arizona? Or what were you thinking when you first went out there?
I was going to go to school in California. So I think my thought was, I think I wanted to go to college in California because in the back of my mind, I sort of wanted to try this acting thing out. It excited me. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I think if anything, I probably wanted to join the military, but, or be some sort of secret agent or something, and I think that the next best thing was to just pretend to do that on TV. And, my parents were oddly encouraging. I think it's something that my dad always wanted to do, and he probably would have really excelled at. So he was very encouraging, and moved out to LA, was going to go to school, and decided I didn't want to be half in. I wanted to just fully commit. So I just fully committed. And I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know anybody out here. I didn't have any friends, and I was 18, so I couldn't even, too young to go to bars. It was a really weird time. But I just did what I thought sounded right, which was why I was doing extra work. I was just wanted to be on set. I wanted to see professionals doing it. And I remember being there and watching them and just being like, man, that's so cool. Like, maybe I could do that someday. And so I really count my lucky stars every day that I get to, that I'm living it right now. And I try to let the day go by that I don't really acknowledge how lucky I am. It's easy to kind of take it for granted and think that, I'm owed a job because it's what I do and I've been doing it for a decent amount of time. But I think the biggest thing, the biggest lesson I tell people that want to give it a go is, like, first off, if you want to do it and you're passionate about it, like, do it. Like, just give it a shot. I mean, this is you got one life, man. There's no dress rehearsal. Like, give it a go. And if it doesn't work out, who cares? Things will unfold the way that they're supposed to. But if you do make that leap of faith, every day, I mean, as much as you can, try to get out of your comfort zone. Really push the edge of your comfortability, because it's a scary thing, man. To give your heart and soul into something, to go and perform, to share of yourself with people that have the potential to say, like, no, you're not the guy. Go cry on your manager's shoulder. It's tough. And the more that we can just put ourselves out there and put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, and the more that we expand our being and what we're capable of, and that's all it's about, getting out of our comfort zone and trying to grow and expand constantly. Yeah,
it definitely isn't easy going into these rooms and feeling like you've got 12 people who, when I first started auditioning, I would get so nervous because it felt like they were just, the feeling is of judgment. When you walk into the room, what are they thinking of me? Are they going to like me? Am I going to say something stupid? Am I going to screw up my lines? And auditioning and acting, I think, is an amazing microcosm of life in general, because all of your insecurities that you have as a person get brought up in an audition. Like, you cannot hide in an audition. And those first few times you may feel confident rehearsing in the mirror the night before, but as soon as you walk into that room, it is a whole different ball game. And what I loved about it was that even though it was like kind of scary having these people in front of me, what I liked about it was that you had to be truthful in that room. You couldn't pretend, you couldn't lie, you couldn't be anything other than as truthful in the moment. And it's these moments in life that I feel like are the most worthwhile, when you put everything on the line. And even if it doesn't work out, I feel like I always am proud of the fact that I got out of my comfort zone, that I pushed the limits. Because as you were saying, just getting out of your comfort zone, to me, the best things in life are outside of that comfort zone. And even if you are going to, realize that you're not always going to succeed outside of your comfort zone, there's always something to be learned from every time you stretch the limits and push yourself. And that's why it's important to have someone like a manager or someone else in your life, or a wife, to be able to go to when you do have those moments where it doesn't work out. And I want to get more into that further on. But as you were starting out and you started to audition and then you started booking some of these roles, did you ever have the imposter syndrome feeling where you're on set? Because I did when I first started acting. I was like, oh shit, I got the role. Because I would book the audition and then it was like, oh crap, now I actually got to film it. What if I screw up? What if they don't like me? Did you ever have that feeling of like, maybe I don't belong here or I didn't deserve it?
Absolutely. 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 I feel like I still have it at times, this feeling of like, gosh, man, like, did I somehow trick a group of people into giving me this opportunity? Like, I hope that I can do this justice. I hope that I can make the people proud that have gifted me this opportunity. And yeah, it's a funny thing, man. It's a funny thing, and even on my show right now, United States of Al, it was my first time doing a multicam sitcom. And so even though I've been acting for a decade, I was still new to this format. And so I was just trying my best to learn every single day and learn from my mistakes and learn from this incredible team that I was working with, from the other actors that had worked in this particular format prior to the show. But yeah, just still feeling like that sort of that hidden desire to please. Like, I hope that I do a good job. I hope that they're happy with this, which isn't a great feeling. You want to just feel like you can take ownership of the role and it's yours. I'm only starting to like settle into it. Like, I'm in the right place, and this isn't some sort of fluke. I've busted my ass and I'm committed to learning and growing and really making this story the best that it can be, and just doing this role and this role justice to the best of my ability. But yeah, man, I feel it all the time. All the time. It's, thank God it's a little bit less than it used to be.
Yeah.
I definitely understand.
Yeah. And I definitely want to get back to United States of Al, but for right now, we've got a couple of people with some questions here. Tina Holden actually is saying, imposter syndrome on Imposters. Tell us about Imposters and what that show was about.
Yeah, Imposters. It was a show. It's a show about a woman who's a con artist, and she'll marry a guy. He falls in love with her, and then a few months later, she basically disappears, changes her identity, and takes all his money. I was one of the guys that was conned out of my life savings by my wife. So I go on this mission to find her, get even with her, get my money back. And on my journey, I stumble upon another guy and a girl that were also conned by the same woman. So we decided to team up and go catch our wife, but we're all broke. So we have to kind of become con artists ourselves in order to track her down.
And so did you have to, like, because usually for TV shows, they'll bring in, like when I was training to be, when I had to play a chef on Melrose Place, they had me go train with a chef. And, when we're on set and we're working with weapons, they've actually got real police officers or military guys there that are showing you how to use the weaponry. Did you talk to actual real con artists and learn anything from these guys?
We talked to a handful of magicians, so guys that could kind of just the art of deception, and in the show there was a lot of pickpocketing and sleight of hand. So we talked to those guys. I didn't go to any penitentiaries. I didn't talk to anybody who, to my knowledge, really lived this particular experience this for real. Yeah, that would have been cool. But yeah, we run a network called Bravo, and Bravo decided to cancel the show after the second season, and then they wanted to stick with more reality content. They wanted to get away from scripted content, and so they canceled the show. And then it went to Netflix, and it found this massive audience base. It was a top 10 show for a long time, and so it was really sad. People were like, "When's the third season?" We're like, "Dude, we're done. You know, we're all off
Yeah.
on, different projects now, which is such a funny thing about this business, man. Like,
Yeah.
that
Definitely up and down. And we chatted about that last week, just about the highs and the lows and the successes and then the disappointments. And you mentioned that just before you had booked United States of Al, you had a baby, right? Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And you just tell us a little bit about like where you were, because I think sometimes think that actors in Hollywood, it's glamorous, and it can be, but the reality is, with acting, there's no guarantee that you're going to get your next acting role. And it's similar, like so many other professions out there, especially right now where so many people are having to do side hustles just to make ends meet. And, I think the reality is out there too, that with acting, when I love it, it's something I'm super passionate about. And it can be incredibly frustrating when you love something so much and you don't know if you're going to be able to do it again or to continue making it as a career. Tell us a little bit about how you mentally stayed resilient through that time period to then book this next role.
Yeah. So my wife and I got pregnant during season 2 of Imposters, and we thought the show was doing well. We thought we were coming back for a third season. Again, sort of taking it for granted, I guess, to a certain extent. And then the show got canceled. Well, we moved down to San Diego. Actually, we moved down to San Diego while we were pregnant. I've got family down there, and the thought was to be there for a few months, have the baby, and then get the third season of Imposters and move back to Canada to shoot season 3. And right when we moved down there, the show got canceled right when we had our baby. And suddenly I was just like in San Diego as a new dad and no job. And I just had like a bit of a it was a scary time, man. It was a scary, it was a scary time. I was reevaluating everything. I mean, I was really realizing that this is a profession that, there's no guarantees in anything in life, but in this business, as it's so up and down, and we're at the mercy of all these executives that decide suddenly that this particular show doesn't sell enough Dove soap, let's scrap it, or it's not doing good enough in this demo or that. And there's really no rhyme or reason to it. And it was really scary for me. Prior to that moment, I didn't really care if I succeeded or I didn't, so much monetarily, at least, because I felt like I was fine living on a buddy's couch if I had to. Like I didn't need, I don't need a lot of things to be happy. And then when I had that baby, I was like, I need to be able to provide for my wife and my daughter. And it just really scared me. It really scared me. And I was auditioning a lot. I'd been working for a good number of years, and I was auditioning, and I wasn't booking the way that I had anticipated. In my mind, I was like, I'd been working for so long, I just kind of expected I would be able to jump into another job. Yep. The problem is, like the more successful you get, you start competing for better gigs, I suppose, against higher profile actors. So, the competition never really gets any easier. Mm-hmm. And so, there were a handful of jobs I really wanted, more than a handful of jobs that I really wanted that didn't go my way. And I started to get really down on myself. I started to think that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't have what it takes to succeed, to be in this business and to provide for my family. And, it's a funny thing. Like when you're auditioning for, let's say, the hero role, the guy that gets the girl and saves the day and beats up the bad guy, and the hero's journey, and put your heart and soul into it. You believe that you can be that hero, and you go in and they're like, no,
yeah,
and you're
but I rehearsed this for 20 hours. I worked with my acting teacher. I took vocal lessons. If you only knew what I did to prepare for this.
Only knew. And I was living in San Diego, so it meant driving 3+ hours up to LA for my 15 minutes of shame, and then driving 3.5 hours back down to San Diego. So it was this massive investment of time and energy and resources to be told I'm not the hero. And doing that over and over and over again, I was like, well, I guess I'm not the hero, you know? And so who am I? I must be the antithesis of that. I must be a piece of, a piece of garbage. So I just allowed that to I just allowed myself to believe that, man. I allowed myself to get really negative and pessimistic and stop focusing on the things that I was grateful for. And anyway, so I had that spell, right? And through a series of events and experiences in life, I sort of started to just shift that perspective and fall in love with what I was doing again. And to be honest, I was about to move my family to Costa Rica. I was like, dude, let me just get off the grid, and I'm gonna go take people on spearfish. I'll be like a spear fisherman or something, just live in a cave, and just be happy, and then the story came around, and
what was the shift though? Because we were chatting last week, and you mentioned that there was a little bit of a mind shift switch, little perspective shift on life and career that I think what we chatted about was we talked about when you are chasing something, sometimes you can chase it away. And when you take a step back and take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, you invite more of, if you want to call it the law of attraction or whatever it may be, because it's similar to my experience leaving LA to come to Chicago, where very similar experience going to these audition after audition after audition. After, we've had a certain level of success, it's not like we were out there and then nothing happened and then we would keep going on these auditions. It's like once you get that certain level of success, you're like, okay, that's where I expect to be. Sure. And then when it just doesn't happen and you keep going over and over and over again, very same thing. Started doubting myself, started questioning whether I had the talent to compete against, like you said, now you're competing with a higher caliber of actor for some of these other roles, these higher caliber roles. And what we chatted about last week was very similar to my experience in that it seemed like you didn't chase it so much, or you weren't so attached to the outcome. And it was because of some of these soldiers that you had met, these Navy SEALs. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I moved down to Coronado. It's where my family lives right now. Coronado is where Navy SEALs become Navy SEALs. It's where guys go through BUD/S and become SEALs. So it's a small community, and when I was living there, guys that were my age I was no longer surrounded by actors and Hollywood types. I was surrounded by these warriors. I mean, just like a very different breed of human, a very unique breed. And I became close with a handful of these guys. Kind of a funny story how I became close with them, but I became really close with these guys. They became some of my closest friends to this day. And it's funny, when you're in your 30s and you meet guys, it's rare, I should say, that you meet best friends in your 30s, and I feel really blessed that I've got these guys that I consider lifelong friends now. But I had sort of realized that I'd spent my entire adult life in Hollywood, constantly just trying to be an actor, auditioning for things, trying to do whatever I could to fit in to the mold that I was supposed
to get people to say yes.
Yeah,
the guy.
That was my entire life. I didn't have life after high school. I lived a normal human life up to 18, and then 18 and on was actor world, and so I sort of realized I was like, I want to just live my life. I want to do things that I enjoy. And and not just pretend to do things that not just pretend. Acting is we're pretending, dude. We're play pretend. Mm-hmm. So anyway, when I met these guys, we just started going on adventures, man. My buddy lived on a sailboat, and we'd sail to Catalina Island. We'd go spearfishing. We'd go to Joshua Tree and go rock climbing, rappelling down mountains. We were camping and just traveling and just like having a blast, like just living our lives, training in martial arts, taking up jujitsu, like doing all these, taking up slackline, just all these things I'd wanted to do. And now that I was pregnant, about to have a baby, I was like, now's the time to get it in. So I don't know how much of this next part I want to share, but so some of these guys are struggling with with PTSD, as you can imagine, and there's sort of the traditional VA route. You go and you talk to a therapist, and you can get prescribed a bunch of medications, and a lot of them have found that wasn't super helpful. The prescription pills, and you take one and you need another one because it's giving you this messed up side effect, and you're on all these pills, and they got turned on to more unorthodox approaches to treating PTSD, specifically through the use of plant medicine. Mm-hmm. And I got invited to some ceremonies with guys, and through these ceremonies, they were able to heal a lot of the things that they were suffering from, that kind of bottled and stored down deep, the things you don't really want to deal with or don't know how to deal with. And consequently for myself, I was able to deal with a lot of the things that I was struggling with personally. And I think that I just left with a newfound appreciation for all of the things that I did have in my life. These little shifts that you talk about is just shifting to recognizing all of the things that I have to be grateful for, and quit focusing on all the things that I wish I had, and I think that was crucial for me in my life, just to realize that I have this amazing family. I have this incredible daughter. I have these amazing friends, all these things in my life that I wouldn't trade anything for. And I think that was the shift that I needed. And until I had that shift, why should I deserve anything else good in my life? I needed to first appreciate that which I did have. Mm. So that was hugely valuable for me. To quit being so hard on myself and telling myself that I was a piece of shit, get over that.
And I'm sure being around these guys, these warriors.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw in the news, like these guys, I mean, just even their training, like this week, there was a Navy SEAL trainee that died in training, and another guy ended up in the hospital. I mean, the training that these guys go through BUDS, the training program to become a Navy SEAL, in and of itself is like intense. And when you were with these guys, did having these guys are going all over the world, they're doing things that we probably couldn't even imagine doing, like scaling walls. And I mean, you saw what these guys did when they went into Pakistan and handled the whole Obama or the bin Laden situation. These guys, see some stuff that we probably will never see. Did they share any of this stuff with you? And is it difficult for them to open up? Because men in general, we don't really talk about our feelings a whole lot to begin with. Are these guys any different than just normal guys, or do they? With this kind of training, are there therapists that help with what they see over there in like combat and like you mentioned with PTSD? I mean, what was that? What were those conversations like?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, these guys have seen and done things that you and I will never see or do, and a lot of it is really horrific. you know, but you know, I don't want to get political or say that war is necessary or anything like that. But sometimes there are jobs that need to be done, and you know, that it can be kind of bad jobs. You know, it can be a nasty profession, but someone's got to do it. You know, there are bad people out there, man, and it takes a bad dude to go and handle this business. You know, and take care of what needs to be taken care of. And it's you know, they're incredibly well trained technicians, operators. You know, they're the best in the world, but they're still human. You know, and it's a difficult job, and you know, they're really good at sucking it up and getting on with it, and not complaining, and not whining about, you know, being hurt physically, but also not complaining about the mental toll that this line of work has on the body and on the mind. And, so yeah, it's brutal, and you know, the Navy, the government tries to have you know, tries to take care of these guys as best they can, but there's only so much you can do, and I think that's why a lot of guys are drawn to these unorthodox approaches that I hope, you know, are becoming increasingly popular. I hope that it continues to trend in this direction, because I've seen such incredible change and improvement in guys that are allowed to try out these unorthodox approaches. But as far as them sharing with me, I mean, it's a group of guys that, you know, they don't do what they do so they can brag about it or get the accolades. You know, this is oftentimes a thankless job, and so they don't like to boast. They don't like to brag. They don't like to really share much. But yeah, they've opened up to me about their experience. You know, both in training and overseas deployed. And I'm honored that some of these guys feel safe enough to share with me. And I'm not gonna share too much about what's been shared with me. But yeah, it's brutal, man. It's a tough job, and that's a lot of veterans have a hard time coming out of the military. I mean, they say 22 veterans kill themselves every day. I mean, that is a startling statistic, because we don't know how to help. You know, you send these young men to do this job, and then, you know, we kind of say, thanks for your service, get on with it. And it's a harder thing. It's a harder thing to do than I think we realize as civilians. And that's partly why I'm so honored to be telling this story, playing a veteran who's in the process of readjusting to civilian life.
Yeah, well, I couldn't think of a better, more qualified actor to play the role that you're playing, not only in Enlisted, but also now in the United States of Al. And the show I mentioned at the beginning of the show tonight is about a soldier. You were in Afghanistan. You meet this Afghani interpreter, and you know, I think what we saw a few months ago with I'm not sure if many of you saw this, but from my understanding is we had said to a lot of these interpreters that if you help us while we are over there, we will try to do our best to get you and your families over here. I don't know the specifics. Maybe you can share some insight on that, because I would think you would touch on that in the show and tell us a little bit about how you got the role, because I think it's amazing how the universe has a way of picking the best actor for the role. And whenever, you know, I teach acting class now, and I heard this from one of my acting teachers, and she said that it's not the casting director or the producer or the director that picks the actor for the role. It's the character itself that picks the right person to play that character. And the fact that you got cast to play this character in the United States of Al says a lot about, obviously, you being able to walk into that room and play that character. But the fact that before the show even happened, you were down there in San Diego. We're thinking about maybe moving to Costa Rica and giving up acting, and you're around these guys, you're hearing their stories, and now you have the opportunity to now be on the show and have a platform to share what these experiences are really like. I think you're the perfect guy to be able to tell this story. So would love to hear a little bit more about what the whole setup of the show is, and how true to life do you guys try to be?
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that, man. Yeah, I feel really blessed, man. I feel really blessed that this story came into my life. I think that it would not be to your point, I think it would not be my story to tell had I not had these experiences with these guys. To me, playing a soldier or playing a veteran is very much akin to stolen valor. It's very much akin to a guy putting on fatigues and walking into a store trying to get a discount on his donut, pretending to be someone who served who hasn't. And so it's not something that I take lightly. And I'm so grateful for the relationships that I have, and I'm so grateful when they tell me that they're happy to have me, represent them in the telling of this story, and to give me their encouragement. I've got texts from some of my buddies that are just like so encouraging and mean so much to me, because I was coming on to do this, talk about imposter syndrome, and I was just like, shoot, man, like, can I do this justice? Can I live within the confines of the multicam format and yet give this everything that it deserves? This is not a laughing matter. It's a very serious issue, and yet we are making a comedy. So I had a lot of nerves around it, and that's why I was just so grateful for all the experience that I had and everything that they shared with me about. I was out in the desert doing these plant medicine ceremonies with just groups of veterans, just a bunch of guys that are just trying to heal and get better. A bunch of our nation's baddest warriors, and then like this like dork actor. It's like how I found myself in this position was really bizarre, and to your point, very serendipitous. And so when I got the script, I was like playing golf with my buddy, one of my team guy buddies, and I was like, dude, look at this, man. I'm like, this is your life. It was literally what he was going through, and he was like, we just couldn't believe it, and it was just audition, so I was like, there was no guarantees at all, obviously, that I was going to get it. But I meet with casting, and then I meet with producers, and I was getting to kind of the final stages of things when I was about to test for the project. And testing, dude, I don't know if you've gotten into what testing is like. Talk about a gnarly process. But I wrote this long email just saying, by the way, guys, like, since I'm a finalist, in terms of the guys you're looking at, I want you to know that I have this experience with these guys that I think is a bit unique. And I just wanted them to know. And I wrote this long email, and at sort of the 11th hour, I decided not to send it. I was like, if this is meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm not going to try to sway them with some sort of email. When it was all said and done, I got the part, and it was, it really made me reevaluate kind of my perspective on life. And maybe there is some truth to this idea that things unfold as they should, when they should, and the right person, the right job is meant for the right person, and to trust it would save us a lot of angst and turmoil every time something doesn't go our way, rather than curse the heavens, realize that it just means that
it's like the universe saying, this is not for you. Move on.
Yeah. And I think back to all the jobs that I was so upset that I didn't get, but had I gotten them, I would not have been available for this job, which is the right job for me right now to tell this story. So yeah, man, it's cool when we can kind of tap into that way of looking at things as opposed to the other perspective. And to your point about your question about the interpreters, yeah, dude, it's a crazy situation. You said that we told them that we would, we told the Afghan interpreters that we would try to get them and their families out. It wasn't that we told them we would try. We essentially promised them that if they helped us, if they helped our troops, we would help them. We would bring them to the United States. It was a promise, because by doing what they did, they were putting their heads on the chopping block. They are going to be killed for helping U.S. forces, and yet we could not have done what we were doing over there without them. So we say, hey, here's a piece of paper that says you helped us. You know, you are helping us with our mission. We will take care of you and your families. And then suddenly, you know, when we withdrew from Afghanistan, you know, thousands of these guys and their families were being left behind. Thousands of these guys are like, wait, here's the promise that you made.
Yeah.
You know, what about all my years of service? You know, these guys were serving our country, standing shoulder to shoulder with our men and women, fighting the Taliban, and then we just dipped out, and these guys are getting killed and in the most horrific ways. So this was all happening right as our show was coming onto the air, and it was a very challenging time. And we're like, great. So now we're telling a story about, you know, a veteran and an interpreter while this crazy mess is happening, and what a challenge that was, you know, and talk about wanting to do something justice and not make light of a situation, but also understand we had an incredible platform and an opportunity to shine a light on this experience and hopefully help to get as many of our allies out of that country as possible before their families were killed. So our first episode of season 2 was we didn't have a single joke. You know, it was a drama that we shot like a multicam with 4 cameras, and it was based on the true story of our military advisor fighting to try to get one of our Afghan writers' family members some of our Afghan writers' family members out of Afghanistan. So what we were doing in real life, we were also writing about, and it was just this crazy time of trying to make a show while also trying to get loved ones out of Afghanistan, and then try to segue that crazy situation into a laugh out loud comedy that America can enjoy. So yeah, it's been a crazy process, man. It's been a crazy process, but gosh, such a beautiful and fulfilling one that I'm so grateful.
Yeah, and Adir, your co-star, he's amazing. You know,
thanks, man.
I've seen a couple of episodes. Where did this guy come from? He's so talented. He's so funny. Is he from Afghanistan?
No, so he's not. He's from South Africa, of Indian descent, and he took a lot of heat for that. They tried, you know, really hard to find there are just not a lot of Afghan actors, and he's been around. He's worked in a lot of multicams, and he's just an incredible actor. And so they hired Adir, and we've surrounded him with Afghan writers, Afghan producers, pilot coaches, you know, and so he's done everything he can to really do this justice. I feel very grateful and honored to work with him.
And you said one of your writers that's on the show, while you were filming the show, literally he was having communications with his family over in Afghanistan, trying to get his family here to the United States.
Yeah. One of our male writers and a female writer were both struggling to get their family out of Afghanistan, and a lot of sleepless nights. We, it was around the clock trying to call in every favor we had, trying to get a hold of Marines that were on the ground in Afghanistan, and we had, we'd be like, wave your hand, and trying to get through the crowd and trying to get them out of the country. It was really scary. And me and Adir and our military advisor Chase and one of our writers from Afghanistan, Habib, we flew to Washington, and we flew to DC, and we asked the president to please do everything that he could to try to get these people out, get our allies out and their loved ones. And we were doing everything we could.
So what's been the result? Have they been able to get these interpreters out of there?
We were able to get their family out. Yeah, we were able to get their family out. Not all of their family members, but a few of them. And I think it's a touch and go situation, man. it's scary. I mean, it's a massive humanitarian crisis right now. It's really devastating. And so we're still trying to do fundraisers. We're trying to get the message out and get people to not forget about Afghanistan that have helped us, and that we've, it's such a massive impact on their lives by being at war over there for 20 years. So it's an ongoing battle.
Is there a way for my audience, anyone out there who's watching this, to be able to support or get involved or to try to make a difference with this?
That's awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah, a recent post on my Instagram. There's some links to play. I think it's my most recent post, probably. There's some links on there. That's probably the easiest way to go. Just go to my Instagram, go to my recent post, and there's it tells you where you can go to help donate.
Okay. So everyone right now, whip out your phones, follow Parker Young on Instagram, check out his bio, and just start doing a little research on ways that you can help and spread the word and just raise more awareness to this. And by all means, absolutely, definitely watch Parker's show. And I think what's great about what you guys are doing, Parker, is that you definitely are bringing, a spotlight to something that is so necessary to be to create awareness around. And the show is great because it's realistic, it's heartwarming, but there's some levity there where it definitely is. It's an entertaining show to watch, but the fact that you guys are able to be able to present such a sensitive subject matter in such an incredibly well done way is like huge kudos to you, to Adir, to your writing staff, to the producers. This is not an easy thing to do. And then also on top of it, there's the difference between single cam and multicam, which is most sitcoms are filmed in that 4-camera format, like Friends and Cheers, and most traditional sitcoms as we know them are filmed in that 4-camera format. And the fact that you're doing this, is it a live studio audience that you're doing this in front of?
It was supposed to be, but because of COVID, we haven't been able to have a full audience. So we've got a handful of producers behind the monitor laughing, and we've got the crew laughing. But that's all we got. That's what we got to work with.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I feel really lucky. We've got an incredible team. This is the team that came off of Big Bang for 12 years. I mean, Chuck Lorre and the Chuck Lorre. I mean, I just feel so blessed to be learning and working with the best. Rhea Ferrari, Dave Getch. I mean, this team is incredible, and I'm just really grateful to work with them.
Awesome. One of our audience members, Marisa Costa, asked, "What role did you think was the life-changing role that you've had in your career?"
The life-changing, every role's been life-changing for me. It's always been, I feel so blessed every time someone thinks that I am even slightly deserving of being a part of their project. I'd have to just say the first one, which was Suburgatory, because I really had done nothing prior. So that team really had to take a chance on me. And so that was probably what got it all started. Got me working in network television, working in comedies, working with incredible actors and writers, and so that was huge. I mean, but all of them. I mean, Enlisted was an awesome opportunity for me. I had such a great time doing that. Imposters was so much fun, and I learned and grew in different directions from that. And then this show is really, it's really, I guess, life-changing. Sure. I mean, it's my first time really being a lead of a show or a co-lead of a show, and on this, in this particular format, as you described, and with this subject matter. I'm just so grateful for this. I think there was a time when I was like, oh man, I don't want to get stuck on a show for 10 years. I want to be able to try different projects. I'm like, dude, let me ride this one. The wheels fall off. I'm having such a good time. So I hope we get to keep doing this for some time.
What would you say is the biggest difference between multi-camera and single cam?
Whew, dude, it's crazy. Multi-camera is crazy because you've got an audience. You've got a there are people laughing. So you're doing the scene, and then all of a sudden
It's like doing a play, right?
Like doing a play. It's like doing a play, and you have to hold for audience laughter. You've got to know where that's supposed to happen, and sometimes it happens in places it's unexpected. But the thing I've learned about multicam is it's such a beautiful rhythm. They talk about comedy being akin to music, and I really am seeing that in the multicam format. Just the setups and the jokes, and just seeing the flow of the episode is really beautiful, and starting to kind of read that and understand that flow has been really cool. Also, you get way less takes. I mean, everything's shooting all at once, so you kind of do the play of it, and they're getting all the coverage, and you move on, as opposed to single camera. We shoot you, then we shoot me, right. And when the camera's on me, maybe I have more liberty to improvise and play around because it's just on me. But when all four cameras are shooting,
everyone is on.
Yeah, so you kind of to really have the beats dialed in.
And do you shoot every day? Because I've seen a couple of filmings of multicam. I watched an episode of Friends. So with Friends, they would show up to work on Tuesday. They would start doing table read, rehearse Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, shoot the show on Friday. And we showed up at like 5 o'clock at the Warner Brothers lot, and they started shooting around, or maybe it was earlier, started shooting around 5 or 6. And by 11 p.m., they still hadn't finished. And I left just because they still had like probably another hour. And they brought pizza in for the audience. There's microphones that hang from the ceiling so that the microphone will pick up your actual laughter. Do you guys shoot every day, or is it just you rehearse and then shoot that one day?
Well, we rehearse Mondays and Tuesdays, and then we shoot Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the plan was rehearse Monday, Tuesday, maybe pre-shoot some stuff Wednesday, Thursday, and then do the live audience on Friday. Run the show for the audience. But because we can't have an audience, we just shoot Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Got it.
Yeah, and I hear, I shot one pilot with an audience, one multicam pilot, and it was a lot of fun and terrifying. And I think majority of the actors would love to have the live audience and just have that energy. But it's something nice about not feeling like we have to play to an audience, but we can really take time and find a lot of these moments that need care and thought, because we're dealing with difficult subject matter. And so it's nice to not have to cater to an audience. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, I want to wrap up here by asking you a few questions about your favorite movies. Are you ready to jump into the particular pick six part of the show, where I'm going to ask you your favorite movies and a little bit about your favorite actors?
Cool, man. Let's do it.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So what is your favorite movie of all time?
Dude, I'm going to have a hard time with all these questions, I bet. I'm going to, the first thing that comes to mind is Gladiator. I haven't seen it in a while, but man, that's a great movie.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Love Russell Crowe, and that movie is what helped me get through my cancer experience.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, man. Just walking up to Sloan Kettering Hospital every time I had to go in for my chest x-rays and blood tests and all that stuff. I'd literally try to take on the persona of Maximus, walking up there and just pretending I was about to go into the gladiator arena. Just, and that's the power of movies and film. And that's why I absolutely love what I do, because we get to step into playing these different characters that we wouldn't normally think that we would have this type of courage. And this is what I actually teach in my acting classes and in some of the other things that I teach, that it really is starting. What I've learned from acting is that by borrowing some of these superhero characteristics of some of the characters that I've played, it has helped me become more brave in my real life. It's enabled me to become a better communicator. because I'm reading all of these amazingly written scripts that I wouldn't have never known how to communicate or say the things that I've always wanted to say to people. And boom, it was right there on a script. And I was like, this is what I've been wanting to say my whole life. I just didn't know how to say it, you know? And so it's been great training for me to be able to start assuming some of these characteristics of some of the characters that I've played, to be able to then take that into my real life. And that's just one of the things, I guess, byproducts of being an actor that I've found to be incredibly beneficial.
Mm-hmm. I love that, man. Love that.
A little side tangent. What was your favorite movie growing up when you were a kid?
As a kid, I keep thinking of Lion King, but that's when I was like a toddler. When I was a kid, I love The Matrix, man.
Yeah,
I love The Matrix. Yeah, like whatever age I was when The Matrix came out, I was just fascinated. Yeah, I'm gonna say The Matrix.
Okay, awesome. Red pill or blue pill?
whichever one was the truth pill. I think it was the red.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite comedy?
First thing that comes to mind is Step Brothers.
Awesome.
I love that movie. I love Will Ferrell, man. I think he is such a genius.
Does this mean we're best friends? Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. What is your favorite romantic comedy?
Oh gosh.
Are you and your wife romantic comedy watchers?
Yeah. I mean, my wife is such a trash TV, like Real Housewives watcher. That's her go-to. But romantic comedy.
Does she have you watching The Bachelor?
You know, that's what she doesn't watch. She's into the Housewives girls yelling at each other. Yeah. Rom-com. I don't know. Have you been in a rom-com? I feel like whatever rom-com you've been in is good.
Yeah, we'll just say something borrowed. Why not?
Yeah. There we go.
How about who's your favorite actor?
Colin Egglesfield.
Oh, yeah. You probably haven't even seen any of the movies that I've been in.
Dude, bro. And I'm a huge fan of everything. Dude, I'm so impressed with you, man, that you're an actor, you got this podcast, you're coach, you're teaching acting, all your business stuff. I'm really impressed. Really impressed with what you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You should pop into my acting class sometime. I'm sure my students would love to hear from you.
I'd love to, man. I'd love to. I'll say, gosh, there's so many. I'll say, you know what? Sicario just popped in my mind. I'm going to say Javier Bardem.
Yeah. Awesome actor.
Yeah.
Do you know Ian Harding? He was an actor from Pretty Little Liars.
Okay.
Yeah, he just brought up, had a chat with him last week. He brought up Javier Bardem as well.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And favorite actress?
I just Charlize just popped into my head. Dude, I saw Atomic Blonde again recently, and she's such a badass in that movie. Have you seen that movie, Atomic Blonde?
I haven't seen it.
Dude, she is such a badass, man. I was so impressed. And the action in that movie is just she crushed it. So I'll say her. Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it. She's one of my faves as well. Lastly, we didn't touch on our triathlons. For a few years we were going to Miami. We were doing the Malibu triathlon. Things have kind of been a little disrupted with COVID. Are you planning on doing any of the triathlons again?
Yeah. I thought of it, man.
And anyone out there, if you want to see Parker and me in spandex running around just puking our guts out, feel free to come to South Beach or Malibu for our next race.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a little thrown off with COVID, but I definitely plan on getting back out there and huffing and puffing for the kids for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
How about
did you actually visit St. Jude Hospital?
I did. Yeah, Jeff and I went and visited. Yeah, we went to Tennessee and we visited the hospital and took a tour.
That's
Met
what I
a lot
thought. Yeah.
of patients. And, gosh, man, what an incredible organization! The
Yeah.
fact that St. Jude is on the forefront of research and treatment and taking care of these kids, and yet their families never receive a bill for treatment, housing, food, nothing. You know, St.
Yeah.
Jude did it all, so that all parents have to worry about is helping their baby to live. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, everyone out there, make sure you guys donate to St. Jude next time Parker and I are doing our fundraisers, because it is an amazing organization. And Parker, thank you so much for being here, man. Appreciate your time. Appreciate
Thanks for having me, Colin. This was really fun.
generosity. Yeah. And last question I like to ask my guests before they jump off is, what is something in life that inspires you?
I mean, my family, those who came before me and those who have come after. I'm so inspired by my parents. I mean, I hope to be as good of parents as they are. I'm inspired by my brother, my sister, my wife, my daughter, really all the people that I love in my life. I'm just so impressed with and yeah, I'm so inspired by. They inspire me to do my best and to be my best every day.
That's awesome, man. Well, you inspire me. You've inspired, I'm sure, everyone here on this interview. And dude, thanks so much. Appreciate everything that you do. Keep up the amazing work, and just keep doing your thing, brother. All the support in the world to you. Send you a big virtual hug. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in person, but great to see you, to share a beer sometime soon.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks again. I look forward to talking to you soon, man.
All right. Sounds good. Take care, dude.
Later.
Wow. Guys, you got to check out United States of Al. I think after this conversation, I think we've all been touched and moved. And I think the actual, just the reality of the whole situation that's going on over there, I think it's easy for us to turn a blind eye to it and not think about it. But this stuff is what's really going on out there in the world. And the fact that Parker and his and Chuck Lorre and the whole amazing staff over there at United States of Al is bringing this type of bringing the subject matter to light and doing it in such an amazing and incredible way with levity and just class. You guys definitely have to check this out. And just want to say thanks again for you guys being here. We are getting close to wrapping up this season, and hope to have just more of our continued conversations, amazing conversations here in the next few weeks. I think we're going to be wrapping up here at the end of March. So anyone out there who is thinking about wanting to have a special guest on here, feel free to send us some recommendations. We always love to hear some recommendations of who you guys want me to interview on the show. But just before I jump off here, just want to encourage you guys just to take what Parker said today in terms of getting out of your comfort zone and just truly just enjoy life. I think what we can take from his interview tonight is that, sometimes it's important for us to take a step back in life and really think about how we are living our lives. It sounds like what Parker really got out of his taking a break from Hollywood was that just going out to live life and just do the things that he always wanted to do. And by doing that, by just living your life on your terms and doing the things that really inspire you and light you up, amazing things end up coming to you. So it's not necessarily about always going out there and chasing and trying to grab onto the things that we want in life. Sometimes it's better to just turn inward and start doing the things that matter most to us. And in that process, when we are happy, we start vibrating with that frequency and that resonance of whatever it is that is going to be invited into our world that is vibrating from that same frequency. If you want to hear more about what I'm talking about, just rent the movie The Secret or join us in my next Inspire course. And of course, after Coffee with Colin tonight, we are going to be jumping on for another episode or edition of Coffee with Colin post show, where if you guys want to jump on, we do a little conversation on Patreon. So if you want to join us on Zoom, we jump on a Zoom call and talk about everything that we chatted about in the show. And then also during the month, we do different fun things like Cooking with Colin, and we do something called Hour of Empower. And if you are interested in getting connected to an incredible group of people who like to have deep conversations and further the type of conversations that we had tonight, such as the ones that we had, the one that I had with Parker tonight, and each and every week that we talk about on Coffee with Colin, would love for you to join us in that group. It's an amazing group of people, and a bunch of you who are on here tonight are part of that group. So I just want to say thank you for being a part of that, and look forward to seeing you guys all next week. And have an amazing rest of your Monday night. We'll see you guys all very soon. All right. Take care for now.